Hello again, everyone. Karina and Carla here again. Welcome back to our video series, your go-to guide to finding your new home. We're almost at the finish line, and so far we have discussed selecting your agents, getting a pre-approval, making an offer, and home inspections. We have again with us today Jonathan Dietz with Bank of England to talk about mortgage commitments and appraisals.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much for joining us again today.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you?
Good afternoon.
So you gave our viewers some great information about pre-approvals when we last spoke, but we know that there's so much more to the process that you and other lenders do behind the scenes. So can we start with talking a little bit about mortgage commitments?
Absolutely. It's a long 30-day cycle up to closing.
So to start, what is a mortgage commitment letter?
That's a great question. The commitment is an extremely important part of the process. And it's essentially that. It's the lender's commitment to lend on the loan to the borrower to complete the process of closing their loan transaction.
Got it. And is this commitment letter legally binding between the parties, or can either party back out after it's issued?
No, it's definitely legally binding. Once it's issued, there's no backing out unless there's a failure of the overall agreement between the buyer and seller, and then it's between the attorneys to negotiate a path forward from there. Either essentially, canceling the contract and or breaking that legally binding agreement.
Got it. And so then the underwriting part, does that come before this commitment letter? And what is this underwriting when you're working with a buyer and you said, why we need to go to underwriting? What does that mean and when does that happen?
Underwriting is the process of reviewing the loan file and ensuring that all of the conditions have been satisfied from their employment, for example, verifying their assets and their cash to close, as well as their liabilities, verifying their employment. And in most circumstances and over the course of a normal loan, underwriting occurs prior to the commitment letter. In a perfect world, all those conditions have been satisfied and the file is clear to close when the commitment letter is issued. Okay.
So what's the difference, Jonathan, between a final approval and a commitment letter, and any similarities, if any?
They can be one and the same. A commitment means that all conditions have been satisfied and the lender is agreeing to move forward. So yes, a commitment letter can mean final approval, or a commitment letter can be issued subject to certain conditions, but those conditions really preclude the full commitment from being offered by the lender, if that makes sense.
Now, can this commitment letter be requested before a home is appraised, for example?
It can be, but the commitment letter would be subject to the appraisal or subject to the title work. So it really wouldn't be worth the weight of the paper that it's printed on.
So this is a good segue kind of into our other topic, which is appraisals. Could you give us just a quick overview of what an appraisal is?
Sure. Appraisal is the determination of the overall value and standing of the property. It's very important, and it's in fact required by the bank. Of course, most borrowers want to know what their property is, but sometimes certain borrowers will waive their appraisal as part of making an offer. But the bank requires that an appraisal be completed to determine the overall value of the property and the structure itself.
And who determines the price? Like, how much does that cost, like having an appraisal?
An appraisal can cost anywhere between $500 to $700 normally. It can be more under certain circumstances. Jumbo loans, for example, the appraisal is generally higher.
Got it.
And does the appraiser know the agreed upon purchase price that's stated in the contract before going to do the appraisal?
They certainly do. As part of the ordering process, we upload a copy of that purchase and sale agreement for the appraiser to take out to residents during the appraisal.
So what happens if the appraised amount comes in below the agreed upon price or above?
If it's above, that's a good thing, because then we have some immediate equity in the home. If it comes in below, then we have an issue because we as the bank will only loan up to the appraised purchase price of the property. And so if there's a difference in price, let's say that the appraisal came in at 500, but the purchase price was 510, then there needs to be a negotiation as to how that delta between 500,000 and 510 is handled. Does the seller come down to 505 and the buyer agrees to come out of pocket with an additional 5,000 in cash? Or does the seller reduce the price to the 500,000 that's noted in the appraisal?
Well, is there any other things that we need to consider before getting this commitment letter or getting it clear to close that you would suggest that, you know, we need to keep in mind for our buyers?
Sure. Stick to the do's and don'ts. Be smart, be attentive to detail, be timely with any questions or needed responses to the bank. Don't go buy a new couch or furnishings from the home. Don't open any credit cards. Sit on your hands and wait for the closing to come to you.
Yeah, wait for your key to your new home, and then you can do all that.
That's the key to the new home, right?
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan, again for your time. We really appreciate all the information that you have provided us today.
Great. Have a great afternoon. Great
Thank
to see you.
you.
All right. Take care.